Welcome to the Success Sensei podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devan.
Bowing in. This is Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei, helping you to improve your life one kick and punch at a time. And today I'm going to be talking about stop trying to be so likable. Do you find yourself trying to be likable all the time, trying to impress all new people, all existing people in your life, family, friends, peer groups, work colleagues? Maybe you haven't thought about it, maybe you haven't realized that you're actually doing it, but you find yourself agreeing unnecessarily all the time, just to try to be likable, just to try to be liked by a lot of people, not saying what you really think, holding back your true feelings or your true emotions, being afraid to express yourself, being afraid to express your beliefs and who you are, because you're trying to be likable all the time. It's something that I come across in people more and more. We all want to be liked. It's a huge thing in our lives to try to be accepted and to feel a sense of belonging. You might have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's listed obviously on that as the feeling of wanting to belong, wanting to be loved, your own personal status. So being liked is a huge part, a huge normal, natural part of the human psyche. But a lot of people are people pleasers, are basically, the expression used to be yes man. I know that's gender specific, but a yes man or a yes woman or a yes person is somebody that just says what they think the other person wants them to say all the time. And to a fault. So if you find that you're exhibiting any of this type of people-pleasing behavior, we have a few solutions for you. But first, here's a quick advert. So yeah, you're trying to be likable all the time, or too much so. So how do you be yourself and not worry too much? You know, life is all about balance. It's all about balance. You want to be liked by the majority of people. But there's certain things, you know, certain people are just not going to like you instantly. Maybe they're not going to like your hairstyle. Maybe they're not going to like your face. Maybe they're not going to like how you speak, your accent, the words that you use, how you carry yourself, your own beliefs. There's a lot of things that people mightn't like about you instantly without even having met you. People can form a conclusion. But it's very strong on us to try to get the majority of people to like us. And to be accepted and to be socially accepted within your social groups can be very, very important. But you might be putting too much importance on that. High net worth individuals, billionaires, high net worth people, millionaires, they don't put as strong an emphasis on the acceptance of their peer groups that more, you know, normal people, in quotes, would put more of an importance on being accepted by their peers. And one of the reasons for that is, if you're going to be a trailblazer, if you're going to be a pioneer, if you're going to be very successful, you have to be a non-conformist. You have to not travel the same path as everybody else. You have to take risks. You are going to upset people, especially people that want you to maintain your station, to know the level that you're supposed to be at, that they don't want you to rise above it. You know, it's a simple fact that, you know, friends, peer groups, they're happy with you as long as you don't show them up, as long as you maintain the status quo and you stay at exactly the same level, or the level that they perceive that you should be at, especially within that peer group structure. So in order to continue on with your own happiness goals, your own financial goals, your own success goals, you are unfortunately going to have to put yourself forward in such a way that not everybody is going to like you and not everybody is going to accept you. You're going to have to make peace with that. There's no point in trying to be a people pleaser. If you're looking for an easy life, or you're looking for a comfortable life, or a life with very little risk, that's fine. I absolutely wouldn't judge you on that. If that is your goal and you achieve that, fair play to you. But I mean, the type of podcast that this is, it's one that's aimed at success and success-minded and goal-orientated people. So even people in the public eye who need to value the opinion of others very, very strongly based on their career, the very successful ones will still take risks and hope that the appreciation from the public is there. But they might not, the very successful ones now I'm talking about, they might not play it safe. They won't be conforming. Even though they're relying on that type of public endorsement, they still will put themselves forward because they're trying to lead their own legacy. So to put too much of an emphasis on getting around everybody or being liked by everybody will hold you back, and will hold you back from your own path. So someone I had a conversation with somebody there a couple of weeks ago about this very subject, and they had said to me that that basically being likable or trying to be liked by a lot of people can be very handy to get what you want from a manipulation point of view. Like that book, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. So to be Machiavellian, like to try to get people around to your way of thinking by agreeing with them or by copying their body language or their posture and mimicking them in such a way that you try to manipulate likability. Now the only issue I have with that, and a lot of people use that, a lot of sales courses will teach that, but the only problem I have about that is, well, number one, people are a lot more perceptive than you think. So if you are being fake or you are manipulating, sooner or later people are going to realize the tricks that you're playing, and it could really backfire. I mean, if they find out that you're being fake, or you're not being true, or you're being coercive in any way, that's that relationship blown, and that's that opportunity blown. And then all the people that they go on to talk behind your back, because everybody talks behind everybody's back, that all the people that they go on to say their true feelings about you, I mean, they could, well, you're doing it to yourself, but they could cause a lot of devastation in relationships all around you if the word is spread that you're a fake person, or you're a coercive person, or you're a manipulator. Also, one of the things probably the largest issue I have with the manipulation tactic is that even on a conscious level, if you manage to justify your manipulation, if you manage to justify your coercive measures, your ethic, you're kind of bypassing your natural ethics. So even on a conscious level, if you manage to accept it, okay, I've gotten a bit of gain, I got around that person, or manipulated that person, I got what I want. So on a conscious level, you've managed to stave off the guilt, but on a subconscious level, you know that you're a manipulator. You know that you weren't fully ethical in that scenario or whatever other scenarios. And the problem with that is, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but even long term, stuff like that, guilt comes back to bite you. It's very hard to like yourself if you know you've been employing shady tactics. And life it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. This is a long-term game. Sorry. So if you're going to like yourself, it's better if you have a decent moral compass. If you are staying true to who you are, staying true to your ethics, and just basically for no other reason than selfish reasons, being honest is going to do you better in the long run, especially for your own personal mental health. So the manipulation thing, I think everybody does it at some stage, and hopefully you grow out of it, and hopefully you don't use it so much that you set yourself up for a failure and self-sabotage in the future. Right, so that's the manipulation side of things. How do you express yourself without affecting likability? Well, it's really easy. You don't have to be argumentative. This isn't a podcast to give you the full rights to be a knob. If you're not telling people the truth, or you're being dishonest, or and dishonesty, there's many different forms of dishonesty, but dishonesty is if the answer to the question is no, and you're saying, oh yes, yeah, oh yes, definitely, of course I agree with that, and oh yeah, you're definitely right, and you're massaging the other person's ego, that's dishonest. So you need to be telling the truth. So many people, this is something I come across actually, but I get to talk to quite a wide variety of people within the career that I've focused on, which is coaching, as most of you know right now. And in that, I come across a lot of people who are one character within their job, and they're a different character outside of their job. So if you met them in their job, they'd be very much one type of person, and then if you met them walking down the street or going to the cinema, they could have totally different characteristics. Yes, we all go through a different range of emotions, and on an emotional basis, we're not exactly the same on a daily basis, or on a minute basis, or an hourly basis, never mind on a daily or weekly basis. But we shouldn't be a completely different person. So when you go to work and you're in your job, you should be yourself. If you're trying to be someone else just to align yourself up with the boss, or you're putting on an act, it's not going to be sustainable long term. You should be yourself, but you should be a good version of yourself. Now that's the difference. So that's not fakeness, it's not manipulation. You're paid to show up to work, to show up to be a good version of yourself. You're not paid to be a moany version, or a bad version, or a negative version, or a non-hard-working version of yourself. So you put your best foot forward, but you be yourself. So you don't start aligning, if your political beliefs, if the conversation is necessary and it comes up, if your political beliefs are different from the person that you're talking to, or from the people that you're talking to, you don't have to create this whole alternative persona, because you won't be able to sustain that job long term. You won't be happy long term either, because you won't be true to who you really are. So being yourself is really, really important. I've been coaching for nearly 2 decades now. It's a long time, and I've seen many coaches come and go. I've seen many people coaching and having various different personalities and various different tactics. A lot of people initially come in and they are yes coaches, so they will massage the ego of their clients. Their clients are paying their bills, so they'll massage the ego of their clients. They will agree with everything. They'll tell them they're amazing. They'll be, yes, that's super, yes, that's great. And initially they'll be very popular. Everyone will like them initially. So they've gone down the likability equals success route. But what long term, the clients do not stay. They mightn't be able to put their finger on. If you had some ex-clients or ex-customers and you actually interviewed them after they left and asked them why did they leave, a lot of people don't actually have a reason for not availing or not continuing of a service. A lot of the time, if you ask them, why did you leave, they'll be like, I don't know, I just fell out of the routine. But I know the answer. The answer is you weren't doing something. So it's when you and they can't put their finger on it, but you weren't being truthful. You weren't telling them when they were doing something bad. You were just saying, yes, that's great, yes, so they felt that they weren't progressing. Human beings, we're very perceptive. We know if someone's lying to us. We know if somebody is not actually telling us the truth, or they're just, as the expression is, blowing smoke up your ass. So that, from a consumer point of view, that's only going to get you so far. You want to feel that you're progressing, and a lot of the people that I teach and that I've been coaching have actually been, some of them have been training with me for those 2 decades. Some of them training with me over a decade. And if I'm being totally honest, I mean, I like to think it's because of my amazing personality. I like to think it's because of my amazing skills. But it's probably down to the fact that if something is good, I look for them doing, I try to catch them doing something right, but if they're doing something wrong, I will absolutely say it to them. And I will actually tell them it's diabolical or it's terrible and it needs to be done this way, and have another go, and then catch them hopefully doing it right. I absolutely will be honest. I'll try not to insult them, but I'll absolutely tell them. It's the trust. I think it's the trust reason is why most people are training with me, because they know I'm going to be straight up with them. So it should be the same with you. Truly likable people, truly likable people are often viewed as non-threatening people. Now, I'm not at all talking about physically threatening. I'm talking about threatening another person's success. Just being successful, just having plenty of potential is enough to be threatening to other people who are trying to maintain their position. So somebody could easily be intimidated by somebody else who has a lot of potential for success or a lot of potential to succeed. You know, it's very common in the business world to, as soon as you've reached a decent position, pull up the ladder so that nobody else can get to that position. I told the lobster story on my last podcast. I'll tell it really briefly. Basically, if lobster's in a tank and they don't have any elastic bands on their claws, and one tries to get out, but they all drag that lobster back down. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. People trying to make sure that you don't rise above where they think your perceived station is at, and that's why conformity, even the word to conform, you know, to follow along and to keep things exactly as they are, is going to hinder your progress. You're not going to become successful by following a conformist route, or even by, I've seen it a lot lately, somebody achieves success and everyone behind is like an impersonator. You know, if that's your actual job, if you're an impersonator, then grand. But everybody trying to achieve exactly the same level of success in exactly the same method as that person has used. There's already one of that person. There doesn't need to be multiples unless you're an impersonator. It's to the detriment of your own goals to attempt to be liked by everybody. It will hold you back. An over-reliance on, you know, your peer groups or friends or even family, and trying to make everybody happy is not being true to what you want to do. I mean, there's so many people that follow down career paths and do a career their whole lives based on trying to keep, you know, parents happy, trying to keep families happy, and basically going with the expectations. I'm not saying cause trouble within your family unit or your friends or your peers, or that, you know, any of this isn't important. But as I said at the very start, it is all about balance. Be clear in your own goals, follow your own path, keep your own counsel. Yes, choose your friends wisely. Don't overly try to make everybody like you to the detriment of your own personal beliefs and your own personal goals. They should like you for who you are already. If they don't, you don't need them as friends anyway. Stay true to your own path and constantly review what you want to be achieving. So thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.